Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, FACCI'S Cinema. I'm FACCI as usual. Back for another night for the back-to-backer. Just was on last night. Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake watch along with my dude Cody Leach and my other dude Cody from Dude Who Loves Movies. If you have not checked that out, please do. It was a blast last night. But tonight, another episode of the Faccmonster Cafe, episode 19. Tonight, I am bringing on somebody with a pretty cool, badass name, actually. Davey Deathray. Let's welcome him in with open arms. Hey Davey, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
Matt? Doing great. Good, yeah, doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Been watching a lot of your recent content. Really digging it. Love the My Bloody Valentine videos were good. The Valentine one was good. I like it. I like what I'm seeing.
Thank you.
So I wanted to bring you on, get people to get to know you a little bit better that may not know what your channel is, what it's about, and who you are. So I decided, why not bring you on? So I'm glad you could come and hang out.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think it's a really cool feature that you do on your channel. I've been, trying to play catch up and watching along as well. So really dig the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. So that was cool to check that out last night. And yeah, bringing on other creators, getting to know them and all that. I think, I come from like a punk rock background. So a lot of like DIY kind of ethic and just people lifting each other up. So it's really cool to see that. I see it a lot in the horror community, but
yeah, for sure.
See it here on YouTube as well.
Yep. I mean, it's like 19 episodes in. I didn't know how long the series would last, but I have a great time meeting everybody that I brought on so far. I mean, some of them I've interacted with in the past, so I already knew them, but still wanted to include them in this segment. But tonight is a fresh one. I'm going to get to know a little bit about you. The audience is going to get to know a little bit more. So I'm excited to dive in. And my first question is, what made you want to decide to jump on YouTube and make videos and talk horror?
So yeah, that's the big one, huh?
Yep.
I have been a YouTube nerd for, I mean, as far as an audience member goes, like probably like 07, 08. So I think like a lot of people, I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd was like my first foray into YouTube and loved his videos. I was born in 82. So I grew up with NES and knew all those games he was talking about. So it was something that resonated with me right away, especially like those first few years he was doing it. And then from there, I mean, I've always been into horror as far as like, I saw Jaws when I was probably like 4 or 5 and fell in love with that.
Nice.
And then saw Halloween 2 on the USA Network on television when I was probably like 8 or 9. And that just sent me into the deep end. Like I became a total junkie from there. So it just seemed logical to talk about horror. I don't exclusively cover it, but it's something that I definitely lean into because, the audience is there. I think the community is really exciting and, horror a lot, just like punk rock, it's kind of, not like frowned upon, but just doesn't get the attention that a lot of other, mainstream kind of entertainment does. So I've got a soft spot for it because it's the black sheep and I kind of feel like that a little bit myself. So.
Yeah, I started the main reason is because I don't really know anybody personally that I interact with daily that even likes horror movies for that, really. So to find out there was people out there that like the same movies that I do, and obviously I was kind of a rookie, honestly, when I started because I focused mainly on the slashers, Halloween, obviously Friday, Nightmare. I didn't really go down any other paths, so I didn't know as many horror movies as other people. So I always took a lot of crap for that, which rightfully so. I get it.
But it's all part of a journey, right? It's like it's tough to like judge somebody like, oh, you haven't seen this. It's like, well, I mean, not everyone was like born the same year. Not everyone. I think I was kind of fortunate that I had 4 older siblings. So even though I was born in 82, I was so aware of the pop culture stuff that was going on in the 80s. So I saw these movies like the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens on television for the first time. It's not like I was watching them with my siblings, but I think that having older siblings just made me sort of feel a bit more engaged in that. But yeah, that's one of those things too, where I'm like, I could start with the stuff that I know really well and I love, but I felt like starting off the channel, I need to kind of carve a little something out. So maybe do some of that, that kind of stuff like the Halloween coverage and then things like, and also find some stuff that's like a little off kilter and yeah, try to find another way to go about it.
Yep, that's pretty much what YouTube has been so far for me, honestly. Just trying different avenues, trying different angles, what works, what doesn't work, or mainly what you enjoy doing, because I was trying to fit in with the rest and trying to, I see Drum Dums just dropped a review and so-and-so dropped a review. I better jump on, hurry up, and do a review for the same thing, when I really didn't care enough to do it. I was just doing it to try to keep up. So I kind of got away from doing that. It wasn't working anyway. So I don't really do reviews on this channel that often anymore. It's not enjoyable to me.
Well, and I saw you had recently put out a video where you're like, I'm going to do like the 5 things I love when you did the Terminator. So I was like, man, that's a really cool idea of basically getting to review it without it having to be like a by numbers, point by point kind of review. I've done a few of those when I'm like really passionate about something. Like my first video was a Dylan's New Nightmare, like just holding my phone, kind of like I saw it at Mad Monster. I did a more comprehensive review later, but yeah, you kind of hit those points. Or like When Evil Lurks, when that came out, I was like, I want to talk about this because I had such an amazing time at the theater. But I know what you mean. It's tough to like, you can't really chase that whole chasing out a game that a bunch of other people do really well. I think like when it fits and you want to talk about a movie, you talk about the movie. I'm doing like kind of seasonal reviews instead of just reviewing everything. But I think you're onto something there, because as I'm doing reviews, I'm like, yeah, I just kind of want to like talk about the movie, but not really have to, really review it. Like talk about it with people that have already seen it. So like I'm shooting a Leprechaun thing for St. Patty's Day. That's the first 3 films, because I really like the first movie, and then I watched the second and the third, and I'm like, I can't do a full review of these 2 movies. Like there's nothing to say. So I'll just do one that takes care of the first 3, and then we're good.
You're right. For my series I do with Nick from the Lost River Drive, and that's what I was brought up to him. I was like, hey, do you think we should rank the Leprechaun franchise live? And he was like, I'm gonna be honest, that's a pretty hard task to do, and it's not gonna be very enjoyable. I was like, yeah, forget it, we're not doing that. I don't
if I were like 8 or 9, I would really like those movies. But the first one works enough for me. It's not great or anything like that. It's like a strong B-, but Jennifer Aniston is super charming in it. You can totally tell that she's going to be a star. So I think it's really cool to go back and like, not only is it somebody that blew up, but like they killed it in the movie. Whereas sometimes we get in, Crispin Glover in the final chapter, he's one of those like, oh my God, this guy is transcendent. But and like, it's not like Kevin Bacon's bad in Friday the 13th, but there's not much there. But yeah, when you watch Leprechaun, you're like, man, this chick is just, charming in her tiny, ridiculous 90s shorts.
The first one's good. I was just rewatching the third one because I like the Vegas aesthetic, but
that one's fun. At least it's fun. The second one is boring. Like the second one, I was like, kill me now. The third one, I at least had a good time watching, even though it's trashy and fun, but it knows what it is. So I think that's an important thing to remember too. Like when you like review or like grade a film or rank it, it's like, what is it trying to be? What is it being like honest about what it is? It being honest about what it is? And it's like, you can't really grade everything like side by side. It's sort of tough to do that.
True. Another question I ask everybody that comes on.
All right.
Which of the big 3 is your go-to? Halloween, Friday, or Nightmare?
I would say my go-to. So my go-to is probably Friday the 13th, because the films are all so easy to watch. And like if I'm doing chores around the house or something, I can just like put pretty much any one of them in. Maybe a couple that I sort of leave out of that rotation. Halloween is my favorite. I absolutely adore Michael Myers as a character. I love the mystery. I love the music and the atmosphere that a good handful of the movies have. But not all of the sequels are like as rewatchable as something as like popcorny as Friday the 13th. So yeah, and I'm like Friday, like I'd probably put the first movie like 4th or 5th in my rankings of that series too, because Jason Lives, the final chapter, part 2 is really good. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty fun one.
Yeah, the original one I'm coming around to. I usually skipped it. I was not a fan. Obviously, it's not the greatest movie in the world by any means, but it's definitely grown on me a little bit. It was at the bottom of the ranking. Now I'd say it's more to the middle. I definitely, it's fun
got
for
a
what it is.
different vibe. It's got a different vibe. It feels way more like a giallo kind of movie. Like when I saw Bay of Blood like 10 years ago or something, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's what Friday the 13th is kind of doing. Like a little bit of a there's something a little dreamy about it, and just not as like it just doesn't look as
I can see
refined
that
as the others.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite out of the Friday the 13th franchise?
Jason Lives. Easy.
That's fan favorite.
Like it was between, I think when I like really dove back in, the final chapter, I love that movie so much. I love like Jason grunting. You know, Ted White's portrayal of Jason is just so like grounded for you're in the 4th movie of this franchise. This guy's had a hatchet in his head. So to make you feel like you've got something grounded happening was pretty awesome. Really great characters. You know, Corey Feldman's super charming at that age. But then as I started watching him more and more, I just realized like Jason Lives is just like the quintessential like 80s kind of movie. It's just really fun. It's got the music, the Alice Cooper soundtrack. I love Tom Matthews as Tommy. I love Megan. She is like just my kind of gal. Like she knows that danger's right there, but she's sort of like, all right, let's go. And some of the dialogue that she's got in that movie really cracks me up. It's just so much damn fun.
That's a popular choice. Mine's part 3, which I know is not a lot of people's favorite, but
all right, yeah, that's a different
something about it. Just dig it.
I think you
and
Nick from Lost River Drive, isn't that's his favorite too?
That's his favorite too.
Yep. It is that's a good one. Yeah, I think some of the 3D effects haven't aged as well, but that's one of the first ones that if I just want to like put one on for fun, that's probably the one I'm going for. I love the disco version of the soundtrack. I love the old couple at the beginning. These people are clearly like 33 and they're trying to like make it's like they were written to be like in their 50s. The old lady, like she's like old lady knitting, and I'm like, you're like, are you even 30 years old? Day fly eggs, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Donuts, a Sunny D. I love it. So I'm curious about this one. What is your least favorite Friday the 13th?
Oh man.
Even if you like them all, one got to be the least.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like Jason Goes to Hell, or man, I used to love this one when I was a kid, but the New Blood, I just really wish we could get like a real R-rated version of it.
Yeah, it's boring.
Because it just seems like because I saw it on television as a kid. I love the way that Jason looks, like seeing the exposed spine, all that stuff is awesome. I love the idea of him taking on somebody with a superpower. You know, they couldn't get Freddy versus Jason lined up, so they went with the Carrie versus Jason route. But I feel like switching from edited to TV as like a 9-year-old to like the Blu-ray, there's nothing new that you're getting. I guess maybe some boobs. You get some boobs.
That's it.
That's it. And you know, I guess Jason X kind of looks like a Star Trek Next Generation episode, like the budget. So sometimes I'm like, I'm never watching this movie again, and then I put it in when I have a weak moment. But I would say Manhattan, just because it gets so off the rails. It has that really weird dark stuff with like the people in New York like drugging the girl. It's just really weird.
Man, I've grown to love that one for some reason. I hated it like my whole life, and then I just keep rewatching it for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the one that I hate the most, probably Jason X. I saw that in the theater when it came out. I loved it because I was a kid, and then I'm like, I can't watch this movie. It is a bad Power Rangers movie, but worse.
Yeah, it's got those moments. There are a couple moments where you're like, "Oh, that was cool." Everyone talks about the nitrogen kill, and
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome, of course. But that's pretty much all it's hanging on. Yeah,
Yeah. Because
too
a lot of the
bad.
kills are CGI blood and CGI whatever, so it's pretty
Yeah,
rough. Pretty rough.
it does have what is it? Um, who's the actor that's at the beginning, or the director at the beginning that like
Um,
works for the
uh,
FBI? David Cronenberg or
Cronenberg.
something?
Yep.
That's one of the coolest parts of the movie too. Just getting him there is
Then he
unreal.
gets then he gets killed.
Would have been cooler if he, got to direct a Jason movie, but
Yeah. Yeah. So what I know that's your favorite franchise out of those three, but what is your all-time favorite horror movie of all time? What would it be?
oh gosh, all-time favorite. I'll probably say some basic thing like the original Halloween.
Okay.
It just like it sets the perfect mood. It is a bit of a slow burn. But every time I watch it, I'd probably watch it like 2 or 3 times a year. I
Mhm.
notice something different, or I just pick up on something that I didn't pick up on before. So I really like that about it. But as far as like, I don't know, the Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead is probably right up there. And I know it's not like the best looking film, and it's got like there is that rough kind of quality to it, but I think it's the
Yeah.
most punk rock horror film of all time. Like the fact that sometimes they only had 4 or 5 people on set making that movie. It's one of my it changed the way that I looked at filmmaking. Like when I saw The Evil Dead, I started looking at movies completely differently. I fell in love. I was probably like 15 or 16. I just fell head over heels for that. So The Evil Dead might be the one that edges out Halloween. They definitely you know, go toe to toe on that one.
Um,
I saw what Allie said there about Jaws. Allie, I just don't know if I've considered Jaws. Yes, you can call Jaws a horror movie
horror
for
movie,
sure.
yeah.
It's my favorite film of all time, but I don't think of Jaws as a horror film. For me, it's like the reason why Jaws works so well is because it's horrific, it's suspenseful, it's thrilling, it's funny at certain times, it's dramatic. Like it's all the genres like
Into
perfectly
one.
melded together. And but I wouldn't fault you for calling it a horror movie. I guess when I think of horror movies like Evil Dead versus Jaws, I don't think they're in the
Yeah.
same field. So as far as genre goes,
No. Jaws is fantastic. Evil Dead, on the other hand, for me, not a fan. But that's
yeah,
okay.
I saw your tier. I like those tier lists that you did. The Tears for Fears. I'm a huge fan of the band Tears for Fears, and then seeing that you're actually doing the tiers, with each year. I think that's a cool idea.
I
If you
like
want to bring it back, bring me back. We can do one together.
I'd do that because I was doing it myself, but they didn't get any traction. They didn't. I thought people would like it but then Cody Leach is way bigger than me, so no shit, he gets a lot of views. But he
Sure.
did very successful doing them, so I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. But it was fun, but it was also a pain in the ass.
Okay.
Freaking
Yeah, if you don't
moving
like it, but
moving all
if
the
it's
shit over.
yeah. But
I,
I think it's like you said, if you, as long as you enjoy it, I try to lean that way with my channel where it's like I'm just not going to worry about the views. I need to worry about talking about
it's
something
fun.
that I'm passionate about and trying to connect with even if I've just got a few people that are interacting, like
Yeah,
just connect with as many people as possible. Yeah, I mean Cody is totally massive. Like
yeah, it's a different
I think
story.
as long as you're enjoying something, you should just stick with it and don't worry about don't compare yourself to others, Matt. You're
I
great.
can't. I can't compare myself to him. He has way more subscribers than I will ever have, and
Well,
I don't want to do this full time like he does. I don't think I could do that. It would drive me nuts.
it's a whole different ball game. Yeah, but it's really cool though to be able to get him on a stream, especially like I know he's really passionate about that '03 remake. So to get
Yep,
him on for that's really awesome. I mean, that means that he sees something in what you're doing and that he's willing to spend his time joining you for that. So I think that's really cool. I'd be pumped
that's
for
what
sure.
I mean. It did make me feel good. It did, but I know there's
Oh yeah, dude.
a fan base out there that's not too fond of him for whatever reason. So kind of, and some of them are
That's
my good friends, but
Yeah,
it
that's
is what
just
it
the
is.
internet. I mean, come on.
I
No one,
know.
and
I
people can have their weird beefs or think that, have their opinions, and that's fine, but also like you know, people can just do what they want to do on their channel, and everyone
I
can
know.
just F off, right?
That's what it is. It's about having fun. I didn't think I'd still be doing this. It started about 4 years. I think anniversary is coming up soon. I think June. 4 years. I didn't think I'd last this long. I thought I would have gave up a long time ago, but the community that is here is amazing, and they're always
Mhm.
coming out to support you any way they can, share your stuff, whatever. Even just dropping in streams to say hi is always
Yep,
a plus. I appreciate everybody that stops in, no matter if you stay the whole time or just drop by. It means a lot. So
for sure.
that
Yeah,
is
I think
what I'm
yeah,
learning.
the community is super supportive. It's awesome.
Um,
So you got a buddy there.
I was like, I can't see him. Yeah, he always comes down when I'm on streams and sits beside me. Usually, I think he watched. He probably shouldn't have watched, but I think he was here. Jason Goes to Hell watched along. He was here, and so was Ken from Sledgehammer Horror. His daughter was there, so you know, it was just a kid's dad night watching Jason Goes to Hell, which is very
That's a
inappropriate.
wild one for kids to watch.
Yeah,
That
I don't
movie.
know why
It's
they were here.
full of talk about Evil Dead. It brings in all that stuff too.
Which then kind of contradicts me not liking Evil Dead, because I kind of like Jason Goes to Hell now. So I don't. Maybe I'll come around to Evil Dead. Maybe.
And I don't think there's a lot to like in Jason Goes to Hell. I like a lot of it. And yeah, you know, you never know with a movie like Evil Dead. Maybe if you watch it a few years down the line, like you might feel different. I think that's a really cool thing about film. Like I try to rewatch movies and see how I feel. Because when I first got into those movies, Evil Dead 2 was easily my favorite because it was so much fun. And then the more I watched them, I was like, oh man, like I think the first one's the best one because it's got this totally different vibe. But yeah, you know,
my favorite Evil Dead would be the remake, if I had to say, but that's also because I saw that one first, so I had the connection to that one. And the first Evil Dead I just watched probably 6 months ago, so that might have a little something to do with it.
Sure,
but I'm gonna give it a shot again.
The remake is my second favorite. Because it matches it's the tone of the original, which I think is the best tone. The funny stuff is okay. I like it just fine. I don't think there's a bad movie in that franchise, not by a long shot. But yeah, that 2013 one was brutal. So much fun.
What did you think of Evil Dead Rise? I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't better than the remake to me, but did you like it?
Yeah, I'm kind of just with you. I'd say it's fine. I felt like a jerk walking out of the theater because I was like, man, I thought I was gonna like that more. Like, am I being too harsh? But here's what I thought is based on what they showed us in the trailer. I was like, oh, if they're showing that in the trailer, I don't even have to worry because the last movie totally blew my socks off with how far they pushed everything. So I figured, oh, if they're showing the glass coming through the neck in the trailer and the cheese grater, and we're in for a huge treat. And I felt like those were two of the bigger moments in the movie. And that the movie it walked up to the edge, but didn't push like the 2013 one did.
Nope.
So I want every Evil Dead film to take it further. I even think the Ash versus Evil Dead like took some moments pretty far. So I feel like Evil Dead is the perfect franchise to stretch those boundaries and get really wild with things. And I felt like Evil Dead Rise played it pretty safe, but like I said, not a bad movie in the franchise. But if I had to rank it, it would probably be last.
The only one I haven't seen is Army of Darkness. I have it, but I've never watched it. So that's on my watch list.
That one's funny. Yeah, that one's like kind of like Dead Alive. Like Dead Alive was inspired by Evil Dead, and then Army of Darkness has like the blood level that Dead Alive has, where it's just so over the top, hilarious. Have you seen Dead Alive?
No, I've heard about it and hear people talk about it, but I've never seen it.
So if you like, you prefer Evil Dead 2 over the or no, you like the remake.
I like Evil Dead 2 and the remake over the original.
Yeah, Dead Alive is kind of like that Evil Dead 2 vibe, where it's like I would say maybe even a little funnier because it's not as much dark humor. There's like some really cutesy like New Zealand type humor. There's just something about the Aussies and the New Zealanders, the Kiwis. There's something about their humor that's just a little different, and I find it very charming. And Peter Jackson, like all of his skills are on display. Like he does some really impressive filmmaking. You can totally see why he ended up doing all the big movies he's done.
Yeah.
But Dead Alive is probably my favorite of his films.
I'm gonna need to check it out. I'm gonna need to check it out. What's a horror franchise to you that you think doesn't get enough love? It doesn't get talked about nearly enough as it should.
Franchise.
Yeah.
I think the Romero Dead films don't get talked about enough. They're not like slashers, and they're not necessarily direct sequels, but they are connected so far as same writer director, and similar sort of like through lines and everything about society and the way we are. Man, when I first saw Night of the Living Dead, I was like 16 years old. Blew my mind. I couldn't believe that a movie from 1968 was that good. Like a horror movie about zombies. I love the black and white. I felt like it made the makeup like an easier sell. And from there, I was like, oh, I have to watch Dawn of the Dead because I just heard nothing but great things about it. And Day of the Dead's probably my favorite. But what I love about Romero is that you can watch his movies just as pure entertainment, or you can take that deeper dive and try to see like what he's saying about society and about people. Not until his last couple of movies did he really start like hitting you over the head with like the social message. But I felt like for the first like 3 or 4, he was really subtle about how he handled it. And I really like the guy's vision. I love the Savini effects in Dawn and Day. And I don't hear it talked about as much. And I don't know why.
You're right. It doesn't get talked about that much. What did you think about the remake of Night of the Living Dead? I just watched that one for the first time probably a couple months ago.
The one from 90 that Tom Savini directed.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time. It's my wife and I have that like on our short list of movies to watch next because she's never seen that version. I remember liking it, but not like, it's not completely necessary. But
True.
I think it's cool to have Romero come back and tinker with his own script and then handpick a director. Like you don't really see that very often when you see remakes. So, I respect where it's coming from, and I think they did a really good job. I would say that the Dawn remake is probably like a more fun example of like a good remake. Whereas I expected that one to let me down. I was like 22 when that came out, or is just about to be 22, and I had such hardcore doubts about that remake, and then saw it in the theater and loved it so much that I went back and saw it the next day. So
I do like the Dawn of the Dead remake. I do. That's probably one of the best remakes there are out there.
Yeah, talk about getting hate. Zack Snyder gets a lot of hate. I mean, I get it on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, then just stop watching the movies.
Then people wouldn't have anything to complain about if they did that.
It's like, you don't like that this guy makes movies look like video games every now and again? Okay, whatever. Like, God forbid a creator just like put their vision out there and it doesn't have to be the same as every other creator's vision. Like, y'all love every Christopher Nolan movie, but you have a problem when somebody else has style. Like, what are we doing? Like, let someone have some style,
Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight, baby. Let's go.
Those are fun. Memento's fun. The guy makes like these like 3-hour movies that I just have no interest in watching. Like, I don't care about Oppenheimer. I'm sure it's a great movie. I don't care though. Am I a jerk? I just don't care.
That's what I said. I forget. I was talking to somebody and they're like, you should watch Oppenheimer. I was like, I don't want to watch a 3-hour movie about a nuclear bomb. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. It may be good.
True story movies. Like, get that shit out of here. Those are only created for awards. That's the only point. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Anything he does now is going to be just unreal. Like, it's whatever. I'm just not very interested. I'm not interested in a lot of like romantic comedies. There's certain genres where I'm just like, I don't care, I'm a jerk like that.
You get hate for it, but it is what it is. If you don't like something, you don't like something. It is what it is. Blu-ray Addict says, ever watch Day of the Dead remake with Nick Cannon? No, I have not.
Oh my God, that's such a bad movie. Blu-ray, good one on that. That is so bad. That came out in like 2008 or something like that. Ving Rhames is in it, which is funny because he was in the Dawn remake. Mina Suvari is in that as well. God, that's terrible. Yeah, it's like they just bought the name. and they named a couple of characters, like the names of the characters in the original day. There's a
Mhm.
military presence, but it's nothing like they just basically took the name. You know, it's like the Black Christmas 2019 remake.
Luckily for me, I've never seen that 2019 remake,
Dude,
and I don't plan on it. So
well, let's do next Christmas. Let's do a commentary and just rip it to shreds because it is so. It's like I would watch it if I could do like a Mystery Science Theater thing because it's so bad, but kind of like entertainingly bad because it's super cringe.
I'd be afraid that I'd actually like it, and then people would really hate me.
I don't think you would like it.
I probably wouldn't. I love the 06 one.
Oh, the 06 one is great. And it's actually like,
It's fun.
Does a good job of, paying homage to the source material and then like kind of extending the lore a little bit. And you can tell there's a lot of reverence for the original. The atmosphere is great. Like it feels like Christmas.
Screams
The music
Christmas.
is awesome. But yeah, that 2019 one was just like, it's just like they went to self-righteous like message boards and took like stuff that people wrote and made
Put it
it
in a
as
movie.
dialogue. It's like I would be shocked to find that anyone likes that movie. Seriously.
I'm sure there's someone.
It makes Valentine look like a masterpiece.
Whoa.
Yes, it absolutely does.
We're not gonna talk bad about Valentine.
We don't have to talk bad. I had enough fun watching that movie.
I saw that at the theater opening weekend when it came out. There was like 4 people in the theater. It was me, my dad, and like 2 other people. Nobody wanted to watch that movie.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's not offensive. I think I said in my review, I'm like, I know I'm shredding this thing, but it's not offensively bad. I just,
No,
I'm not Stuckman, so I'll tell you if I think a movie's not good.
It was like a CW made for TV movie, but they put it in theater.
Absolutely. Yep, exactly.
Pretty much. I mean, my little soft spot because going to see it in theaters, but other than that, I rewatched it obviously for Valentine's Day as well, and I was just like, it's fine.
Not as good as that original My Bloody Valentine. That one rips.
No. Thank you. People always tell me I don't like that one. It's boring. I'm like, no, it's not. Why?
Yeah, I don't think I guess sometimes when folks are really, really young or when they were young, they weren't watching the old stuff. It's tougher to like appreciate the films that are a little more slow burn. I think people feel that way about the original Halloween a little bit, that it's kind of slow and meandering. But to me, I like those types of movies because I like to get to know the characters. So that way, when stuff kicks into high gear, you actually feel something for the people. So I like that. Yeah.
I mean, Halloween is my favorite of all time. So I respect it. And I don't even like slow burns. I really can't stand them. But Halloween works for me. And so does Black Christmas, which a lot of people didn't think that movie would work for me. But Black Christmas 74 is fantastic.
Yeah, it just gets better every time I see it. I love that movie. That is creepy as all hell. My wife cannot watch that. Like I have to watch it while she's out of the house because the phone calls just creep her. It's just too much, Oh, it shocked me the first time I watched that movie. I was like, they said this in a movie in 1974. Right? Holy crap! Like, yowza!
It's good. They don't even say that today.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get canceled today. Back then, it didn't matter.
Yeah, now they do the opposite. That 2019
you're a jerk.
Complete opposite. Yeah, we're gonna change the name of the school. That's actually like something they're talking about in the 2019 remake. Because the guy the school was named after was a rich, mean white guy.
Oh God.
That's great.
Yep, we don't. A commentary would be fun, but other than that, no, thank you.
All right, let's do it.
Gavin says my Bloody Valentine is slowly becoming one of my favorite slashers over the years. Thank you. At least somebody appreciates it because that's my favorite non-franchise slasher of all time. And the minor costume is fantastic. It's so unique and so different.
Yeah. Yes. Such a great look. I think even in the remake, that's like the thing that they got right the most. Like they, Harry Warden looks great. And I think My Bloody Valentine and I really like The Prowler from 1981 as well. I put those two are like they came out, just like 4 or 5 months apart. They're really similar as far as like the revenge whodunit kind of angle.
Yep.
And you know, the Savini effects and the Joseph Zito directing in The Prowler. Like, you can see why when he ended up doing the final chapter, like he just brings over this like this real kind of feel to the slasher. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and I think that those don't get enough love, and it blows my mind that My Bloody Valentine has not become a franchise, because like you said, the iconic killer, the whole Valentine setup, it's just like, why isn't this happening? But hey, it's been 15 years since the last one, so maybe they can give it another shot.
Yeah, because the killer in the original didn't die. The killer in the remake didn't die. And the remake made some money, and then they're just like, on to the next one.
Yeah. They did that with a lot of those remakes back then. You know, they never went back to the Friday the 13th, even though like I really enjoy that remake quite a bit. I loved it. I think it's like one of the better ones in the franchise, probably. Top 5 or 6 for me. And then Nightmare on Elm Street, I couldn't get more than like 15 minutes into that remake. I don't know if I need to give it another shot. What do you think?
I never went to a midnight showing in my life, but that was the one movie that I went to. I don't know why, because I'm not even a Nightmare on Elm Street guy, but I went anyway, and I was like, wow, that was awesome, because I didn't really have attachment to the franchise. And then rewatched it again, and I'm like, this movie's just very depressing, and it's just blah. It's just drab, and I don't know. Nothing against Jackie Earle Haley. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just
he doesn't write it or choose the makeup. You know,
he was good.
Hopefully they'll get to bring that back. I hope they hire somebody that's in their mid-30s that's not a star, and gives them a good runway to potentially do like 5 movies if it works out. You know, I think that like you have to make sure it's not a friggin' star. I'm so sick of the recycling of the same like 3 or 4 actors for everything. It's like everyone wants Bill Skarsgård to be in everything. That would suck. Like, he's a great actor, but stop. Like there are more people out there, and Robert wasn't a star when he took the role. The role made him a star. So I don't want to see somebody be Freddy and know who the hell they are. I want them to be like, maybe they've been on a TV show or 2. They've like proven that they've got what it takes, but they haven't blown up yet. You know? Dave
McRae, just saying. What?
Oh my God, Dave is awesome in Dylan's New Nightmare. I love that. So I really enjoy that. You know, it's just 35 minutes or so, the film, but I think they did such a good job setting it up for something that could finish really strong, especially if they're able to get Heather to come back. That would be absolutely unreal. But yeah, I love Dave's portrayal. The makeup was really good. Nora Hewitt and Mikey Rotella just killed it with the, you know, the moldings and then the makeup on top. When I met Dave, he was in full Freddy gear. The first time I met him was at Faccmonster this last July. So it was really cool. I walked up to him and I was like, hey, I've been watching you since like 2018. I'm a big fan, and I wanted you to know that I just became an associate producer on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 today. And he was like, oh, that's so awesome. And I'm like, and I'm going to start my own YouTube channel. And he was like, well, maybe this is the start of something new for you and like big for you. And I thought that was pretty awesome, and it just kind of propelled me, you know, to have at it and see what I could do with this thing.
That's kind of how that was what mine was. I was big into We Watched a Movie whenever I was going to start doing this, and I, you know, joined their Patreon and message them back and forth, and them and Drum Dums, and they were like, dude, just give it a shot. What do you have to lose? And I was like, screw it, I'll do it. Hey, Jason. And then they, you know, commented on my first video and said great job, and it might have been a little thing. Obviously, it might have meant nothing, but it meant something to me, just like Dave, you know, saying that stuff to you meant something to you and pushed you to do this. So, and obviously Dave's awesome. I've had him on the channel a couple times. He was intimidating actually the first time. I was super nervous having him on because he's super smart and witty and everything. So
he's sharp and very professional. So it's like whenever you're dealing with somebody that's like, you know, he uses his voice for a living. He is really intelligent. He knows his stuff. And he's also just got this, I don't want to say like manic energy, but he's so energetic, and he's able to corral it in such a smooth way. It is, I could only imagine it would be pretty intimidating. In fact, I think I'm going to be, since I got the associate producer perk for It's Me Billy, I will appear on one of his McRae lives.
Awesome.
And we're going to talk about a topic of my choice, and I picked The Evil Dead. So I'm going to try. I told him at Mad Monster, I was like, we're going to do Evil Dead because I've heard you say that you're familiar, but you just don't know too much about it. And he's like, well, maybe you can convince me to be a fan, because he's like, people have told me that I should like it more than I do. So maybe you can convince me. And I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Awesome,
but yeah,
dude.
you know, same kind of thing with Lee from Drum Dums was super supportive. Like when I first put out my video, and like, you know, my first few videos, I guess. And then even before that, like when he would engage, you know, in the comment section, and then also just saying like the toughest part is just deciding to do it. And that's what I found. Like the most difficult thing was like, dude, you're going to look into this camera and you're going to pretend like there's a million people back there, because you want there to be at some point. So go and do it. And it's, you know, I come from like a musical performance background, which is a lot more comfortable because you have instruments and you have a couple buddies with you on the stage. So you feel a little less naked. So shooting, you know, doing this kind of stuff, especially, you know, shooting in a room alone was, you know, an interesting kind of obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, it was weird. I know when I started it, my wife was like, that's weird, but I guess if you want to do it, do it. And I was obviously I wasn't professional looking at all. I had bad lighting. I held my notebook in my hand. I, you know, stuttered. Obviously, it was awful, but you had to start somewhere. So
yeah, and you just
develop your personality as you go along, and it'll come out, because it always does.
Exactly. You try to get better with every video, and just let your personality speak for itself. And you know, while you're shooting, even if I write notes and everything, if I'm in the middle of a take and I'm just like feeling something, I'll just go for it. And then I'm like, you know, go back and take a look at that take and be like, hey, the natural moment is the best moment. So, you know, you just kind of learn how to, it is just kind of like finding that personality and finding a voice as a creator for sure.
Yep. That's what, I mean, I used to do a lot of pre-recorded stuff on here, but now I don't do it as much. I started back into it a little bit. So I'm kind of going to toss in one here and there, but I really love the live streams, really love the interaction from the chat, and obviously the guests when I have them on, which most of the time I don't do this channel by myself. So there's always somebody on here, but it's a hell of a lot funner for me personally to do that. You know, recording is fine, I guess. I'm not much of an editor. I don't really enjoy doing that aspect of it. So
sometimes it takes twice as long as the video. Like when I'm editing, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, why did I do so many takes? Like, why don't I just have my shit together or be more confident? But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more live stuff as well. I think with how new the channel is, and you know, I don't really have many subs at this point. It would be definitely something that I want to work in as the channel continues to grow. But for now, it's like, I just need to create something, and I've always got some loudmouth opinions, so I'll be able to find something to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start live streams till a little while either, so I totally get that. And then once I did my first one, I was so nervous how to do everything and if I was doing it right. And now it comes second nature, and you just go and say whatever you want, and you may seem like an idiot, but I don't care. It's all the fun.
I think there's something to be said for, like, I like the off the cuff, less rehearsed kind of thing. Like, you know, if it certainly, like, it's nice to be able to shoot and be able to, like, you know, edit your takes and everything, but also I think people connect with that, like, one take kind of thing as well. So hopefully as I get more comfortable, that'll be something that I'll be better at. I've guested over at the horror show channel a handful of times with Cecil over there.
Cecil's a good dude.
Yeah, and you know, shout out to Cecil. And I saw Robert the Wolfman in the chat, so shout out to Robert. So I've gone over to their channel and been on there, and that's just, you know, one take. You just kind of go for it. But I think, you know, by myself, I'm a little too self-conscious. And I come from that musical background too, of like recording stuff and being like, no, that take wasn't good enough. I'm going to go back
do it
and do it again. Yeah, I'm very hard on myself.
Robert says, I'm still here.
Hell yeah.
Robert's the man. He's a good dude. Cecil and Robert, good people.
Yes.
Good people. Just like yourself, dude. So I left Davey's link down in the description box below. If you're not subscribed, go over, give him a sub. He would greatly
check it
appreciate it.
out.
I would greatly appreciate it if you would do that. It was really cool getting to talk with you and getting to know a little bit about you, what you like. I'm sure have you back on the channel here in the near future, my friend. It was a joy talking to you. See, there you go. Jamie Hart just subscribed. There you go.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, you got
If
two.
you guys, so if you head on over to the channel, I want to let you know a few things that I cover. So I do, some reviews, especially like around, like with like a holiday theme or what have you. But I also do something called the Physical Media Show Off Show, where I dive into, like, my wife and I have over 500 LPs, like vinyl. So I dive into some like special edition vinyl. I did like a Dawn of the Dead box set, like show off kind of thing. And then I do something called I Finally Watch It, where I watch like a classic movie or something that I definitely should have already seen in my life. I did E.T. recently. I had never seen that movie for whatever reason. Yeah, I just cover whatever I'm kind of nerdy about and interested in. So come on by and let me know what you want to see there on the channel.
Damn, it's all. It sounds like all good stuff to me. I try to do off like some physical media show off stuff, but I just think it's awkward for me. I'm just like, here, the movie.
Yeah, well, and like
Here's
you said,
sometimes
sometimes the views aren't necessarily there, but it's like I just like I really believe in physical media. I like showing, like, to me, it reminds me of having somebody come over and get to show off their stuff, or vice versa when you go over to someone's place. Like, I love, Christian over at Planet CHH.
He's great.
Like, he does a really great job with those show offs. So it's like I don't have as much cool shit, but I do want to show off what I have. So yeah, it's a fun little thing to do. And yeah, I mean, come on by, just let me know what you want to see on the channel. If there's a movie you want me to cover or something like that, let me know and I'll tag you once I put together that video. And yeah, Matt, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
No problem, buddy. I think I'm going to try for the next guest on this. I'm going to reach out to Dave, see if Dave can be my episode number 20, see if he'll come on. If he ain't busy, I'm sure he will gladly come on. And that might be a super long show because obviously he's a bit of a talker, but that's fine with me. Just a little bit. I'm kind of running out of the big dogs. We watched the movie. They don't really ever answer my emails or messages, so I don't think that one's ever going to happen. But doesn't mean I can't keep trying anyway. So
yeah, no, keep on trying, dude. You got to be like, you have to be like, what's his face at the beginning of Valentine. You have to ask like all the pretty girls at the dance, and just not give up, and if maybe kill him in 13 years if it doesn't work.
Yeah. And then they'll finally answer and say, maybe later. Okay. Maybe later. And it never happens. That's okay. We'll keep grinding. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep checking out the videos, dropping comments and liking, and send people your way for sure. If you're watching after the fact, please go subscribe to Davey Deathray. He has a cool name, so just do it just for that anyway alone.
Just do it. Yeah. Do you like horror movies and comic books and like nerdy shit? Then come on by.
Yep. So that's all I got for tonight. I will be back next Tuesday with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning watch along with Brett from Good Will Hunting and Nick from the Lost River Drive-In. So looking forward to that next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Hopefully I'll see you guys here. Drop a comment and please hit the like on the way out, even though it doesn't get me in the algorithm, but it makes me feel good anyway. So please do that. And Davey, you rock. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, buddy. And I will talk to you soon.
Take care.
Peace.